Spirit warriors, stop scrolling. You're not here by accident. There are forces moving against you right now. Some smile in your face but secretly pray for your downfall. Why? Because your light exposes their darkness. Your truth disrupts their illusion. Your very presence shakes their comfort zone. And they. See, when you walk into a room, energy shifts. Not because you say much, but because your spirit. And that unsettles people living behind masks. The moment they realize you're a chosen one, their true colors start to bleed through. Jealousy, sabotage, fake love dressed as friendship. But don't panic. There's a divine reason behind it. God marked you. And that mark both attracts and repels. The admiration you receive? That's because they see your potential. But the hate you feel? That's because they fear your rise. And they'll do everything to dim your light, drain your spirit, confuse your purpose, and isolate you from your calling. But here's the key. You must discern. You must protect your energy. You must know who's clapping with you and who's clapping you. We're about to reveal how to spot these hidden threats, decode their tactics, and guard your spirit without falling into fear or bitterness. Because spiritual warfare doesn't always look like demons and fire. It often wears a smile and stands beside you. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're serious about your spiritual awakening, and drop "I am protected" in the comments to activate divine covering over your life. That's not just a comment, it's a declaration. Let's begin. Point 1. The awakening vibration. They felt it first. Before they even had the words to describe it, they felt it. A subtle shift in the atmosphere when you entered the room. A sense of something sacred and solid, like peace with a pulse. Your energy began vibrating at a higher frequency, aligning with divine purpose. And no matter how quietly you moved, your presence spoke volumes. Spirit warriors, this is what happens when you walk in your truth. You don't need to shout it, post about it, or prove it. You simply are it. And the world can feel it before they can define it. There's something magnetic about divine alignment. Your thoughts no longer spiral in fear, they channel focus. Your decisions reflect clarity, not confusion. Your heart beats in rhythm with your Creator's plan, and that spiritual harmony creates a field around you that others cannot ignore. That neighbor who used to overlook you suddenly pauses. That co-worker who once spoke over you now listens more closely. Even strangers glance at you like they're trying to remember where they've seen you before, when in fact they're recognizing your light, your frequency. And the reactions, oh, they vary. Some will admire you, sensing peace and truth radiating from your aura. They may not understand it, but they're drawn to it. Others, well, not so much. Some will flinch in your presence, not because you've wronged them, but because your discipline mirrors their own laziness. Your calm makes their chaos feel exposed. Your integrity, without a single word, challenges their compromises. Even low vibrational entities, the kind that thrive on drama, insecurity, and doubt, they begin to tremble. Spiritual warfare isn't just about rituals or prayers. It's about posture, frequency, and authority. And when your spirit stands tall, darkness notices. There's something unnerving to them about a warrior who doesn't flinch, who prays with fire and walks with peace. This is spiritual presence in its purest form, not loud but luminous. You don't demand respect, you command it, simply by being aligned. So don't shrink. Don't question why people act strange around you. Their spirits recognize what their minds can't yet articulate. You're rising. And the higher you go, the clearer the truth becomes. You were never just a person in the room. You were the shift all along. Point 2. The sudden interest. Why are they watching you now? Suddenly, you're the center of attention. Not because you changed, but because something shifted. People who used to scroll past your posts now watch your stories religiously. They ask mutual friends about you. They whisper behind your back with the same mouths that once stayed silent when you needed support. But here's the twist. They're not just curious. They're spiritually stirred. Why now? Because the veil has been lifted. In the unseen realm, recognition always comes before manifestation. Before people fully grasp who you are in the natural, their spirits already sense it. Something about you feels different, weighty, sacred. They may not be able to put it into words, but their instincts are on high alert. It's not your outfit, your achievements, or your glow-up. It's your aura, your purpose. You carry divine frequency now. You walk like someone who's had a conversation with destiny, and you have. Scientific research on nonverbal communication confirms that people can sense confidence, energy, and even intentions through body language, tone, and presence. Combine that with spiritual sensitivity, and it's no wonder even skeptics can't ignore you. Your light unsettles darkness. Your calm intimidates chaos. Your rise exposes their stagnancy. And yes, angels walk with you. Divine protection follows you into rooms where you used to shrink. God speaks through you even when you say little, and that's what keeps people watching. They feel something holy, something unexplainable when they're near you. Even the most logical, non-believing individuals start to feel things around you. Tinges of conviction, flickers of admiration, traces of envy wrapped in fascination. But here's your challenge. Stay humble, not quiet, not small, just grounded. The temptation to shrink to make others comfortable is strong, but your light was not designed to fit in a jar. Shine with grace, radiate with humility. Be confident without arrogance, powerful without pride. Because this moment of recognition, it's not about vanity, it's about assignment. When you know who you are and whose you are, the spotlight becomes less about fame and more about function. You're being seen because your spirit can no longer be hidden. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Just don't you dare dim that divine flame. Point 3. The spiritual unmasking. Your hidden nature revealed. Chosen ones. This is where it gets real. You felt it, haven't you? That shift in the air, subtle yet undeniable. What was once tucked away in the quiet chambers of your soul is now rising to the surface. Not by your doing, but by divine timing. You didn't force it. You didn't post it all over the internet. You weren't screaming for attention. But now, what was hidden in you is being revealed. Because the season of concealment is over. For a long time, you were hidden not because you weren't good enough, but because you were being guarded, protected, cultivated. Like a seed buried deep in soil, you weren't buried to die, you were planted to grow. God doesn't hide what he intends to waste. He hides what he plans to reveal with purpose. And now, chosen one, your roots are deep enough, your foundation strong enough. It's your time to rise. What's surfacing is sacred. Your dreams are sharper. Your intuition is louder. Your wisdom seems to carry more weight, and others feel it too. People who once overlooked you are now drawn to you. You walk into a room and the energy shifts, not because of your clothes or your title, but because of your spiritual activation. You've been lit from within, and baby, that kind of light is impossible to ignore. Don't be startled if strangers pour out their hearts to you. Don't find it odd when friends suddenly want your advice on matters of the soul. You're not just present, you're recognized. The healer in you is visible. The leader in you commands respect without speaking. The prophet in you sees what others miss. The warrior in you is ready, but at peace. This is your release season. Your gifts were never meant to stay hidden. They're tools for transformation, not just for you, but for the world around you. So don't dim, don't apologize, don't shrink to make others comfortable. As Matthew 5:14 reminds us, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. So shine, chosen one, unapologetically. Because the world isn't just watching, they're awakening to who you've been all along. Point 4. The shift in treatment. From ignored to idolized or demonized. Once upon a time, you moved through life like a shadow, quiet, unnoticed, underestimated. People looked past you, not through you. You were the background character in everyone's story, the one who never quite fit the mold or made the noise. But something changed. You grew. You awakened. You stepped into your truth, and now, you're either admired like a hero or vilified like a threat. There's no middle ground anymore. Some see your strength and call it brilliance. Others feel threatened by that same strength and call it arrogance. This is what happens when you evolve. You disrupt comfort zones just by existing. People project their insecurities onto you because you unknowingly hold up a spiritual mirror. Your light exposes their shadows. Your growth magnifies their stagnancy. Your authenticity reminds them of the masks they still wear. So they respond in extremes. Either they idolize you, hoping your shine will rub off on them, or they try to dim your light because it burns too brightly for their unhealed wounds. But here's where the real test begins: staying grounded in the midst of both admiration and accusation. Praise can be just as dangerous as criticism if you let it define you. Don't drink the praise, it can intoxicate you. Don't swallow the hate, it can poison you. Keep walking. Keep showing up. Keep being exactly who you are without shrinking or performing. Spiritually speaking, this transformation isn't random, it's divine. You were never designed to blend in. You were never meant to live small, apologizing for your presence. You were meant to be light. And light isn't always comfortable. It can warm, but it can also expose. It can guide, but it can also blind. That's the nature of true spiritual power. It's polarizing. Remember, even Jesus was celebrated by some and crucified by others. Greatness, truth, and authenticity will always divide the crowd. But that division isn't your burden to bear. Your job is to stay true, stay aligned, and stay glowing. Let people think what they will. Their reaction says more about them than it does about you. You used to be invisible, but now you're undeniable. And that's exactly how it was always meant to be. Point 5. The isolation phase. When recognition feels like rejection. Now that they know who you are, some people will disappear. And that's not a crisis. It's confirmation. The moment your light becomes undeniable, it reveals shadows in others. People who were once warm may suddenly grow cold. Those who once cheered for you may now avoid your presence. It might feel like rejection, but don't panic. This is divine strategy. When God reveals your identity, He also begins the process of pruning your circle. He is not punishing you, He is protecting you. Think of it like a tree. In every new season, the tree must shed dead leaves, not because the leaves were bad, but because they no longer serve the next phase of growth. Similarly, when you awaken to your calling, people who were once comfortable around you may suddenly feel exposed. Why? Because some of them were only there when your power was dormant, when you didn't fully know who you were. But now that you're walking in divine authority, your presence convicts their complacency, and that makes them uncomfortable. It's easier for them to walk away than to confront what your growth says about their stagnation. Don't chase them, let them go. This is spiritual warfare, and not everyone is built to walk beside a warrior. As your frequency rises, it naturally repels what is no longer in alignment. That's not loneliness, it's insulation. God is preserving your peace because peace is power. Isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. In fact, some of your greatest spiritual upgrades will happen in the absence of an audience. Use this sacred space to go deeper. Pray not just for direction, but for discernment. Fast, not just for answers, but for anointing. Fortify your spirit, because what's ahead will demand a new level of endurance, clarity, and authority. You are being positioned, not punished. Just like Jesus was led into the wilderness before his public ministry, you too are being refined before the reveal. So, spirit warrior, stand firm. You are not alone. Heaven is backing you. The people who left weren't meant to go where you're headed. And the next chapter? It's reserved for those who can handle your light without flinching. Let God do the pruning. Your destiny depends on it. Point 6. The power shift. You no longer chase, you attract. Now that your identity is revealed, Earth Angel, you've stepped into a completely new spiritual frequency, one that shifts the entire atmosphere around you. You're no longer moving through life as a seeker. You're now a magnet. You've awakened to your divine calling, and with that comes an undeniable shift in energy. You don't have to knock on closed doors anymore. The rooms that once rejected you, ignored you, or even mocked your presence are now sending you formal invitations. People who once dismissed you suddenly want your insight, your energy, your approval. That's not by accident. It's the anointing they now see. Spiritually speaking, this is what happens when you align with your purpose. According to the law of attraction and biblical principles like Proverbs 18:16, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your authenticity becomes your access pass. When you operate from your divine identity, opportunities chase you. Resources, relationships, and recognition begin to find their way to your doorstep. It's not magic, it's spiritual law. You've become a lighthouse in a dark sea, and now everyone can see your light. But don't let the glitter blind you, because not every spotlight is heaven sent. Some come with hidden costs and spiritual strings. This is where discernment becomes your sword and shield. Yes, you'll receive offers, but some are traps dressed as blessings. Just like people have now recognized your spiritual identity, you are being called to recognize theirs. Not everyone who praises you wants the best for you. Some want proximity to your power, not participation in your purpose. Remember Judas? He sat at the same table as Jesus, dipped bread in the same bowl, and still betrayed him. That's why you must move with wisdom. Discernment isn't about suspicion, it's about spiritual clarity. Ask yourself, what is this person's fruit? Are they aligned with your assignment, or are they mimicking the light to get close enough to dim yours? This is your season of elevation. But elevation without awareness invites sabotage. Celebrate the new spiritual dynamic, yes, but stay prayed up. Trust the Holy Spirit to guide your steps and your connections. Your identity has been revealed, but now it's your turn to see them clearly too. Point 7. The divine assignment. Now that they know, what will you do? Chosen ones, listen closely, because this is not just a conclusion. This is your commission. This is the moment everything shifts after all the battles, the betrayals, the silence, and the solitude. Now that they've finally discovered your true identity, the real question arises. What are you going to do with it? Will you shrink back into the shadows just because the spotlight feels unfamiliar? Will you silence your voice because it's finally being heard? Will you question your power just because others are suddenly in awe of it? Absolutely not. You rise, not with arrogance, but with authority, not in pride, but in purpose. You don't rise to prove them wrong. You rise because it's your divine assignment. You rise because hiding no longer serves your destiny. You rise because there are people attached to your obedience, people whose healing, awakening, and freedom are connected to you saying yes to your calling. You walk boldly in what you were created to do. You speak when God gives you the word, not when the world gives you permission. You move when the Spirit says move, not when the crowd says go. You love fiercely, you lead courageously, you heal gently, and you awaken others boldly. You're not just another voice in the crowd. You're the echo of divine purpose in a world starving for truth. You were chosen for a reason, not randomly, not by accident, not because you were the most qualified, but because you were willing to be stretched, willing to be set apart, willing to walk alone when it meant staying aligned with your assignment. You are the salt of the earth, the one who preserves, purifies, and adds flavor to a bland and broken world. You are the light of the world, the one who refuses to let darkness win, the one who shines even when the room gets cold. As it's written in Matthew 5:14-16, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. So take your place on the hill, not for applause, but for impact, not for attention, but for alignment. This is your season to be seen, not because you crave the spotlight, but because your light was never meant to be hidden. They've discovered who you are. Now it's time you fully become it. Spirit warriors, the world has seen your light. The question is, will you embrace it or extinguish it? They now know who you are. But more importantly, so do you. You are a chosen vessel, a spiritual warrior, a divine reflection of God's glory. Walk boldly, love deeply, shine endlessly. Stay awake, angels. The world has discovered your identity, but only you can decide how powerful that revelation becomes. Your journey isn't just beginning, it's being revealed. And now the real mission begins. Until next time, stay strong, stay sacred, stay chosen.